Okay. Okay. Now we're recording. All right. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Pat here. And first, thank you all for joining this meeting. We have a special guest tonight, all the way from Provo, Utah. And he's going to tell us all about Prism IO. Okay, and I don't think I need to really introduce Steve here. He's so well known. Well, except that when I sent out the invitation, I messed up his title. So he's Executive Vice President, Chief Product Officer. Did I get it right, Steve? Okay. All right. So he's going to tell us all about Prism IO. Okay. And we're really excited about that because we saw this device in action on the cruise, and it's very exciting. Okay. So I won't delay any more. So I'll let Steve tell us all about it. Okay. Go ahead, Steve. All
Thanks, Pat.
yours.
Thanks, Pat. It's so good to see everybody. And gosh, just everyone on this call, seeing Buzz and Mort and Paula and James, and I mean, gosh, I go on and on and on. I've seen all of you in different places, and those who I haven't seen yet, I look forward to seeing you in the near future and talking to you and connecting. This is my favorite part of the day. I have to be completely 100% honest. Yes, I go into boardrooms and yes, we go do a lot of work in the product side, but to actually see where the magic happens, and that's when you guys are involved and you really take these ideas that we have, that we come up with some pretty good ones, but they don't become great ones until they get in your hands, and then you figure out how to really take it to the world in a powerful way, and we make such a great partnership. So it's a privilege to talk to you a little bit about the science and the background on Prism and why we felt like this was maybe a good idea. And then also to kind of talk a little bit about the future and where we're going. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride, and get ready for some good insights. So I'm excited to share with you several of the slides that were shared in the Team Elite, but then there's some that weren't. And so this is going to be a brand new deck that not everyone has seen yet. So this is a first for Pat and Marguerite. So wanted to make sure that you guys saw it and that you guys got the inside scoop first and foremost. So a couple things, let's get these out of the way. Obviously, we're not trying to, diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. With any of these slides, that's not the goal here. That's not what that's not what we've designed it for. And also, this is presentation. It's just for general information. There are some specific issues that might be applicable to your market that are not held here or not discussed here, or perhaps things that I'll say that maybe are in conflict with a local market regulatory affairs group. So whatever you hear here today, it's just for you, it's for today, but it'll give you a really good insight as to what we're trying to do with Prism. And then if you want to know exactly how you can talk about it going forward in the future, look for additional information from your market and from your market regulatory team. So now I got that out of the way. I want to make sure we set the stage to what's happened. And I want to thank a lot of the people that are here on this call, because without you, we couldn't be here today. And I really mean that. A lot of people say things like that, but this is really, I mean, when you think about what Buzz, I would estimate, I don't know how many, Pat, I mean, all of you who have been involved, who have come into the business originally through Scanner, how many people you've brought through the business and helped to get data that supports this discussion we're going to have today. I know many of you are very data-driven people. You're focused on, okay, I get there's emotion, that's great. There's passion, that's great too. But when it comes to really understanding the details of what we're trying to do in terms of moving the health span forward and creating an environment where our lives truly get the maximum amount of benefit we can possibly have, quite honestly, it's nice to have the data to back you up. And because of the 22 years of data that we've had and the over 20 million data insights, we were able to verify for a certainty what this product does and essentially how it helps us. And what's interesting is a lot of people think it's antioxidants just help your body to potentially, fight off germs, or basically keep you so that you don't catch cold or those type of things. This is such a superficial way to look at antioxidants and nutrition. Essentially, our bodies are amazing. They are incredible, incredible. From our standpoint, your body gets impacted by what we call free radicals or negative impacts to the body every single day. There's millions and millions of impacts to our body that affect our immune health, our skin health, our brain health, our metabolic health, eye health. Everything gets impacted. And as we know, all of our bodies are made up of billions, if not trillions, of cells. And if the cells are compromised through these free radicals, then we're potentially impacted. Well, our body is marvelous, and it has its own antioxidant system inside of it. And so it creates these antioxidants that basically help guard or eliminate free radicals. So things such as smoke and pollution and foods that are problematic, that create havoc in our bodies. Sun that is unchecked, and it basically just goes straight into your body. You don't get enough sleep. These are all impacting your day-to-day normal stress. Okay. Now, typically, if you get up and you have maybe a little bit of stress because you're running a little bit late, but you eat a healthy meal with plenty of fruits and vegetables, and you have a pretty good healthy BMI, or your muscle to fat ratio is fairly good, and generally speaking, you rested fairly well, but you're a little stressed, then your body has a tremendous capacity to generate antioxidants to help adjust for the stress and the free radicals that are created because of that. Now you add, well, you didn't eat fruits and vegetables, and you potentially aren't working out or have no exercise program, whatever it may be, walking or gardening or anything on a daily basis. You're sedentary, and then now that starts to add up. Then you add, for instance, smoking cigarettes or unhealthy choices with alcohol and not getting enough sleep. Now your body is just getting massively impacted in a negative way, where there's free radicals are compounding, and your body's really resilient, but over time it cannot handle all of that consistently over time, and especially as we get older, its ability to respond to all of these millions and millions of impacts to the cellular level from free radicals generated by, again, pollution and the sun and stress and all the things we've talked about, not a healthy diet. It really can impact us. And so what happens is you start to see a breakdown, and your body starts to break down, and you start to see it impacting your overall heart health, your brain health, your metabolic health, your eye health. These things are made up of cells, and when they're compromised, they're going to start not performing correctly. A lot of people can sense it in their gut. A lot of times, a lot of people still don't understand that antioxidants directly have an impact on your gut health, and your gut health has a direct impact on your skin health, and your skin health has a direct impact on your heart health. These are all interconnected. Your cells are all connected. Okay. So for instance, your gut health, a lot of people don't understand this, but really what's happening inside your gut on a daily basis, if it's not healthy, the vast amount of your emotion, your those people who are going through a difficult time from a overall mood and depression, those types of things, that can be impacted by your gut. The overall immune system is generated in your gut. If the focus is there in your gut, your digestion of your nutrients. If your gut is not healthy and it's not absorbing nutrients, and it has a high level of bad bacteria in there, then it's not going to have the absorption rates that you're going to want inside of your gut to be able to go through the duodenum or the small intestine into your visceral organs. So your gut health is kind of the doorway, if you will, to go into your overall health. And in addition to that, your nutrients get impacted. So all of your individual systems are impacted by free radicals and the overall antioxidant score. And the reality is, it's just a problem, because the reality is that most of the world does not have the correct amount of nutrients on a daily basis, and does not have the correct amount of, if you will, optimal levels of sleep, fruits and vegetables, and less stress, and it just doesn't happen. What I'm going to give you is a quick understanding of what's happening around the world in just vitamins and nutrition. Okay. So a lot of these are antioxidants and nutrients that we find missing. So if you look, you can find your country here. We've done initial work with India, and down at the legend in the very bottom, if it's blue, then that means that, basically you're getting adequate intake of that specific nutrient. If it's red, that means that there's a large proportion of the people that are not getting that nutrient. So this was a study that was done by Lancet. This is not sponsored by Nu Skin, but it's a independent group that's highly respected in the medical community and the science community. And they did this massive analysis and looked at the global micronutrient deficiencies around the world. And they're the common forms of malnutrition. And one of the biggest things we've talked about at Nu Skin is our focus on being a force for good and finding ways to get nutrients to everybody we can possibly connect with, whether it's through our Force for Good efforts that we do with Nurse to Children, or whether it's through our life packs or through its whatever nutrients, whatever way we can do it, we've tried to get this out to people all over the world. We'll look at B6, for example. It's really quite amazing. When you look at B6, you think that's just a normal B vitamin. You think it should be in all of our foods, but generally it's not found in a lot of places around the world. And what they've said, generally speaking, is between 50 to 60% of the world's population does not get enough B6 in their diet. That's simple. So from that standpoint, it's really kind of a concern, because now you have this gap, or this micronutrient deficiency that's happening. Is it just B6? Well, check this out. It's amazing. Watch as this changes. And again, watch your specific area. Iodine, look at this. 68%, 5.1 billion people are affected by lack of iodine in their daily diet. Vitamin E. I mean, are you seeing these numbers? 67%, 5 billion people are impacted by deficient levels of vitamin E. Almost ubiquitous across the world. It is impactful. And again, understand how they come up with this number. They take a look at the types of foods people eat on a daily basis and what they have access to, and they find deficiencies in vitamin E in 67% of those diets. Okay. Then you look at calcium, a little bit better, but still challenging in certain areas of the world. Folate, folic acid, riboflavin, iron, vitamin C, I won't bore you to death, zinc. These things you think would be just readily available, but they're not. And here's the biggest concern that most people have. They don't understand that there's a relationship between absorption of magnesium. So if you're not getting the right amount of magnesium, then you have different absorption and what's called cofactors. Cofactors are ingredients that work together for better absorption. So for instance, vitamin D and magnesium work very closely together, or calcium and magnesium work very closely together. B vitamins and D work very closely together. So these things are cofactors. They have actually help each other absorb into the system. And so you could say, well, I get plenty of one ingredient. Well, that might be great, but if you're not getting a ton of the other ingredient that potentially is there, then you're lacking the absorption. A great example is selenium and vitamin E. Let's go back real fast to vitamin E. Look at vitamin E. So to get the proper absorption for vitamin E, the really optimal levels you'll need for selenium. So for selenium uptake, you really need vitamin E. And vitamin E is one of the greatest antioxidants that you can have, along with beta carotene and the carotenoid families and so forth. So you see this massive deficiency in vitamin E, and that is an essential nutrient. So now you look at vitamin E, and one of the cofactors for vitamin E and uptake is selenium. Well, if you don't have vitamin E, and then you look at selenium, and it comes in at this. So now you've got a double whammy. Even if you think you're doing great here in the United States, for instance, and you're getting plenty of selenium, but you're not getting enough vitamin E, that can impact you because they're cofactors. They're dependent upon each other. So we know there's these nutrient deficiencies. We know they're all over the world, and I don't want to spend too much time on that. But the reality is not very many people really understand their score. And why is that? It's because Nu Skin was really one of the first, and to my knowledge, the only company that actually spent the time and the effort to actually quantify whether or not their supplements were working and they actually were benefiting you. And so for me in this industry, this was the biggest breakthrough I'd ever seen. This happened 23 years ago. I'll never forget it because I was making Life Pack for Nu Skin and I saw their orders going up and up and up. And I said, what changed? And they said, well, people know whether it's working or not. And I said, well, how in the world would they know that? Nobody can do that. Nobody has the ability to tell you whether or not. They always say, I take a vitamin, but I'm not sure if it's working. I think it's working. I think I feel a little bit more energy. And they said, no, 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 no. They've gone up to the University of Utah. They've actually worked with these scientists and they've actually figured out a way to understand and do a measurable amount of carotenoid value, which is an indicator of your overall health score. And I said, that's impossible. And then I'll never forget it. As long as I live, I sat down for my first evaluation and understanding what my score was. And they explained all the details. And I remember looking at this little machine and trying to understand it, and then taking the product on a consistent basis and then scoring again and seeing the difference. And I thought, this is unbelievable. This is literally unbelievable. These guys have actually figured it out. I mean, there's all these amazing companies all over the world. You'd think somebody else would have figured this out a long time ago, and only Nu Skin did. So I thought, wow, that's amazing. Then what's even more amazing is 23 years later, there's still no one who's done it like Nu Skin. And so it was amazing. They could actually go in and say, let's take a look at your score. And let's do a questionnaire to find out what your fitness level was, what your oxidative stress level was, what your supplementation is, and what your nutrition is. Now, this is really, really important. Why would somebody care so much about all of these things? Why aren't they just talking about their supplements? Because Nu Skin cares about something more than just selling product. They care about truly helping people live a healthier life. So when they did the questionnaire, when Buzz and Mort and Paula and Pat and James and everybody else who got involved in this were actually sitting people down and doing questionnaires with them, they asked them information such as, do you smoke? They did BMI analysis. They said, are you eating fruits and vegetables or not eating fruits and vegetables? And a lot of people would say, well, who cares? That's not a big deal. It is a big deal because once you understand whether people are literally living healthy lifestyle and the impact that it has on their antioxidant score, it changes everything. Because everyone else out there in the competitive field is saying, hey, just take our products because it's going to give you more antioxidants. But why do you need more antioxidants? And Nu Skin went the extra mile and said, because you're not getting the proper amount of fitness, generally speaking. You're probably not getting the amount of fruits and vegetables. You're probably not living in a non-polluted environment. You're probably not getting the best sleep every single day, and all that's impacting your life. I want to document this so I can show you the difference demonstrated on your score. And that's what happened. So off we went and we created through this program, Life Pack Nano, and we formulated this model. So on the left-hand side, you can kind of see what happens. The scoring was very simple, and this goes around the world. You don't have to be, English or, as a second language, it doesn't matter. Colors speak in every language. Red, bad, purple, good. Everything in between, that's the different levels, right? So on the left-hand side, the reds and the oranges, that means typically low intake of fruits and vegetables, irregular or no supplementation, high stress, high sun, high pollution, or smoke exposure, frequent air travel, high BMI, low carotenoid absorption into the tissue. These are what we would see typically with people who are getting red scores. In the middle, moderate, getting better, and then up towards the end, above average intake of fruits and vegetables, dedicated supplementation, low managed stress, sun, pollution, or smoke. So if you start to manage a little bit more over here on the right-hand side, then your score started to come up higher. Now, the machine had no idea whether or not you were taking fruits and vegetables. The machine has no idea whether you're stressed. The machine is purely agnostic to all of that. It's just simply generating a score. It's just giving you data. It doesn't care about any of this stuff. It's just saying, here's your score, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And that is so important. And then instead of somebody saying, oh, I'm sure you've got this, or giving you their opinion, that doesn't matter. That's nice. I'm glad people are talking about, general things of what they think could be wrong. But unless you're a medical doctor and you've done the analysis and so forth, really, you want something to give you data. That's a data-driven decision to see whether or not your body is at risk. And Nu Skin did that based on this measurement. So you go up, you scan, what happens? You get a score, number as well as color. Now, This is what's really amazing. We had 26 million scans globally. And this is the total of all those scans. Take a look at this. When we did these scans, some people say, well, how'd you guys figure this out? We said, well, it's very simple. And by the way, I have to give all the credit to Joe Chang and the team before I got here, because this is all the great work that they did along with these amazing leaders here. And they basically said, hey, come in, scan. Let's do a questionnaire to verify a couple of points. Again, we talked about it, whether you smoke or whether there's the amount of stress. They talk about fruits and vegetables, those types of things. They asked them these questions and then they scored. Okay. Now, the 21.3 million scans, we found 26 million scans, we found some duplication. There were some areas where people were testing things or doing some additional tests on the beginning before things got started. They do in putty, those types of things. And all of those scans, we could start going through and filter them out to make sure we didn't include those in the total amount. So this is true data that's been cleaned up by a data scientist to verify that all this information is correct. So of all those 21.3 million scans over from 2002 to 2024, think about this. There was all these scans, 49% of them were down here in the red and orange. So almost half the population who scanned. These are people who actually were taking supplements too. This is everybody. This is the entire group. Now there's some over here in the purple, but you see the vast majority over here. So we started to look at it and we said, okay, what does this scan mean? How does it work? And we've talked about this before. Red and orange means, essentially low intake of fruits and vegetables, none to irregular supplement intake, high stress, some pollution, or some combination of these factors. Mid-level means moderate levels of fruits and vegetables, regular supplement intake, and so forth. So you can kind of see where the world is. Before we even get started, you can see where the world is. The vast majority, or over 50% of them, are over in the quote-unquote low to moderate, meaning they're at risk for these problems being overloaded with free radicals and already have challenged health. And this will manifest itself in many ways. Now, let's put this data to work. And this is going to blow your mind. If you weren't there in the TE and you haven't seen this yet, this will blow you away. So we take all this data and we say, let's just break it out into cohorts. So now you actually say, look in the top right-hand corner of your screen. We broke it into 4 categories. Number 1 is, are you a smoker? Number 2 is, what's your BMI score? Number 3, are you getting at least 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day? And do you supplement, specifically with LifePak? And if you answered yes to smoking, and you had a high BMI, means you have a higher fat to muscle ratio than you should have. It's an unhealthy level. And if you eat less than 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day and you don't take LifePak, then look at the numbers. 60% of them were in the red. This is a dangerous area to be. It means your body is being hammered by free radicals and your antioxidant system is being overloaded in a massive way. Number 2 is 28%. So you now have 88% are low to moderate. And then you look at over 90% of them were in the yellow to red. Look over here in the purple. Almost no one scored. That's 38,000 people who fit into this criteria of, yes, they smoke, high BMI, less than 2 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and didn't use supplementation. So again, the data is agnostic. It's just looking at what's happening. Now, if you change one thing from a health standpoint, if anybody's out there who is smoking today and wants to make a good decision for their life, look how fast you can move the needle if all you do is say, I'm no longer going to do smoking. This is the change. You drop from 41%, 34%, 16%. Now what happens if you get the BMI in the right area? Now, if you're not smoking and you have a healthy BMI, look at the change. Now that gray area there shows the curve from before. Now you actually see you've moved from 60% in the low to 22%. You've gone to a third almost of what you were before in terms of those people who actually were in the red. Now you have people coming into the purple and you have 4.6 to 12.5% in the high. So that's pretty significant. Now add fruits and vegetables. Look at that curve. Did you see that? Watch this. I'm going to go back again. So again, remember where we were. Those who are smoking, poor BMI, not so many fruits and vegetables, and not taking LifePak. And then you take out smoking, take out the BMI, issues. Now add fruits and vegetables, and then add Life Pack. Look at the change that you have. This gray area behind the curve, you've moved from 60% to 8.3% of people. And then if you add 2 per day, this is Life Pack, any of the Life Pack family. So this could be Life Pack Nano, could be Life Pack regular Life Pack. It could be any of those 2 Life Packs. It doesn't have to be Life Pack Nano, it could be Life Pack. Look at the shift. You went from 60% to 5 point less than 10% of the people are now in red. So when you think we're talking about helping people live healthier lifestyles, the data proves that when you walk into somebody's home and you're talking to them about Nu Skin and specifically the Pharmanex products and ageLOC products that are associated with it, the data is there to support you to help somebody make a healthy decision for their life. Because we had leaders like Nathan Ricks and these amazing Scott Bennett and Stephen Moore and Paige Riffle and Buzz Croner. I mean, all these amazing leaders who went out there and said, we're going to go help people understand their health and well-being. And when they did that and they took the data down, little did they know 20 years later, this data would support you. So you're no longer telling people to buy product. You're helping them understand their overall health score, and you're helping them use products and decisions that will help their overall health. That doesn't just impact them, it impacts their families, their loved ones, their neighbors, everyone around them. Nobody else has, number one, our patented technology. Number two is nobody has the products that we have that are unique, proprietary to Nu Skin that helps you move this score like we're seeing right here. No one else, number three, has the 23 years of data that supports that what we're saying today is true. There's not one room you can go into, not one coffee shop you can't go to. There's not one family dinner you can't go to where you can actually help somebody live a healthier life if they'll take 15 seconds to get a score and you have a solution for them to improve their overall health. This is a big deal. Understanding to avoid oxidation, boost nutrition, optimize their fitness, and start supplementation, you literally can help people change lives. And this is important for everybody to understand on this call. We're not just about hucking product. That is not what we do at Nu Skin. What we're about is trying to help people understand the little changes they can make that moves the needle so that they have a better opportunity for better health. So now, is there an opportunity out there? Do people even care? Well, now people care more than ever. It's a $6 trillion health megatrend that's going on right now where there's a million zillion products that are out there talking about all the things that they can do, and almost none of them that I can find actually will give you a score and tell you whether it's working. You have a proprietary technology that we'll get into in just a second that actually is unique to Nu Skin and only to our leaders in the field, that you're the only one that can provide this to them. And number three is you have certified product solutions. There's other groups that are actually coming out and saying, hey, I can measure your antioxidant score. And that's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm so glad people are waking up to antioxidants and the benefits of antioxidants. But what's interesting is even if they can score it, they can't give you a solution because that's not what they do. But we know this global wellness trend is real. We know it's going to continue to grow. We know that the biggest issue that people keep talking about when you ask people about their nutrition and wellness, they say, I want to know my supplements are working. I put my hard-earned money into something. I want to know that I'm putting something into my body that's actually going to help me for two reasons. One, they don't want to spend their money on something that isn't working. And number two is, from their standpoint, there's a million options out there. So literally, if there's a million options out there and Nu Skin's the only one that will actually give you the difference demonstrated, you have a clear advantage to help people move the needle in their lives. People want connected health solutions. They want personalized product recommendations. And quite honestly, what you score versus your neighbor score versus your wife score versus your husband score versus your kid's score is going to be different. We saw that in Team Elite. We saw it across the board. You see it across all the data that we have. Then everybody is different. So you're now offering a personalized solution for their health and well-being that you can actually quantify. It's a whole different way to think about the world that we're entering into, which is AI and ML based. So if that's the case, why now? We'll say hello to Prism IO because this is going to change everything. And since we've had this for so long, a lot of you would say, well, this is something we've been doing for 20 years. Why is it such a big deal now? And I'll tell you exactly why it's a big deal right now. Because even though it was awesome, and even though the scanner was amazing and continues to be amazing to this day and what it does, and it's better than anything else, this team that you're seeing right here, and many of these you'll recognize from the original scanner, and then some new faces here, we're trying to answer a question. They said, number one, how do we maintain our exclusivity? Number two is how do we use all these 20 million scans to ensure that we have the proper and most precise score possible? Number three is how do we make it accessible and versatile? How do we make sure that everybody can get access to it? Not everybody wants to be on a lease program on a product. Not everybody else wants this. And I'll grab it real fast. Not everyone has, the ability to get access to this. In fact, we're completely sold out of these, and we have been for quite some time. And it's not because, yes, there's been a run on these because people are starting to see the value of this, but the reality is that the parts that they make for this, they don't make anymore. They're gone. They don't even, and they're so unique and they're so expensive and they're so challenging to get that quite honestly, this is almost impossible to make anymore as currently constituted. Plus, it costs a lot more and you can't fit this in your pocket. And every time we moved it, sometimes you ran into stability issues. So people were concerned about stability issues and consistency and replacing the product. And so we had to solve the problem of being able to make it accessible, something that's mobile, that can do a scan in like 15 seconds, and that was affordable and easy to share. And that was the key, because what we found is a lot of the leaders out there said, if we could just make it affordable and we could just make sure that everyone could actually have access to this so that you could share it and you could go to different places, and then it's going to change everything. But right now it's difficult to get. We have some challenges with the overall technical specifications. So we went ahead and figured that out. Now, this is really important to understand, because a lot of people say, oh, but you've gone away from Raman. No, we haven't. We actually used all of the Raman database, piped all of that information and the technology into a proprietary algorithm. And then our scientists, without getting into all the details, created hyperspectral absorption, which basically shows a sequencing of lights through these photodiodes that basically goes into the skin and measures the lights from the LEDs, and then goes in and provides an AI algorithm from the Raman technology and from these 200,000 measurements that are done in less than literally 15 seconds. So understand what just happened. So you take the Raman technology from 20 years, all of that sequencing, and that's the big difference. A lot of people say, well, anybody can do it now. No, they can't, because they don't have the Raman database. They don't have all those 21 million scans that inform the algorithm and that gave us the target for us to look for on the hyperspectral absorption to correlate the data to verify that we got it right. I just received messages over the weekend from leaders out in the field who have, a couple of them who have a couple of these devices. And what do? They take it and they go right against the biophotonic scan and they want to see if it compares and so forth. And the level of consistency across the board, and these are on prototypes. These are not the finished product. These are prototypes. It's consistent across the board. It is the first time in the entire history of Raman technology and hyperspectral absorption where we converted the two and created a proprietary AI algorithm that provides you a very simple, easy to read score that's in the palm of your hand. It's a totally different world, and only Nu Skin has it. So what does this mean for you? Well, it's really important to understand. Don't make it too complicated. That's what I've heard several times. Number one is it's really quite simple. Sharing this is so easy. I got to tell you, I was on the cruise and I was at the reception desk, literally at the reception desk at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I was just trying to grab a couple of things. Somebody had left something at the desk for me, and I had a Prism in my hand. And the receptionist said, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh, it's this diagnostic tool that helps understand kind of this." And I started to remember, I can't say the word diagnostic. I said, no, it's something. And I was like, well, I just got to get to my bedroom. I said, "Oh, I'll tell you about it in the morning." She goes, "I won't be here in the morning. I want to know about it right now." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." So I put it down and I said, "Would you like to know generally how you're doing from an overall health standpoint?" She goes, "Absolutely." I said, "How about 15 seconds? Put your finger right here." And then we went through the whole thing. Well, as soon as she finished, she received a score of orange in that case. And I think it was like 40, no, 29, something like that. In the low 30s, high 20s, I think, something like that. And what's her first question? She invites the question. She says, "What's that mean?" And I said, "Well, that means that you've got some challenges that you could improve upon, and that there's some areas where your health isn't that great." And I just asked her the questions: "Are you eating fruits and vegetables on a consistent basis?" She said, "No." I said, "Are you supplementing?" She goes, "Not consistently." I said, "Are you exercising?" She goes, "Not consistently." And I said, "Okay, great. Are you stressed, or are you getting enough sleep?" She said, "No, to both." And I said, "Oh." And she goes, "Well, do you have something that could help me with that?" And I said, "Well, it just so happens we do." And so that she invited the question. I said, "Well, here's the information." And I shared some information with her. And she goes, "Well, how do I get this? How do I order this? What do I do? Can I get one of these little devices?" These are the types of questions that get invited. It isn't something where you're trying to go to a shop and try to get people to say, "Here, put your scan." It's this simple, easy discussion that takes place. And so product recommendation subscription just kind of happens. They said, "Well, can I share this with my family?" And I said, "Well, first of all, you can't have it. You have to purchase it, and it's not even available yet in the marketplace. You're gonna have to talk to one of these amazing people here on this ship today, to be able to have a discussion about it." And they said, "Oh, okay." So anyways, I won't belabor it, but I'm just saying this opportunity really is unique, because when you talk about staying on track with measurable results, those things that are measured improves. We understand that monitoring the health score improves this gradual improvement of your diet, lifestyle, and supplement use. Here's the trick. Most people, it's hard for them to start exercising. Most people, it's hard to incorporate fruits and vegetables into their diet. It's very difficult to stop some of the bad habits you have and suddenly get great sleep in the middle of the night. But you can take some capsules, you can take a couple soft gels, you can take a packet of Life Pack, and you can start measuring the results. And when you start to see a little bit of improvement, you start to say, "Hey, I'm making some progress here. Maybe I can do some additional things." And that's the power of staying on track with measurable results. You also have a purpose. This is so important to understand, that it empowers you to make smarter health choices along the way. And this is so simple. 15 seconds. It literally can be that fast, and you can have somebody understand where they are in a non-invasive way, in a highly accurate way, to understand your carotenoid levels or your general overall antioxidant score, and tell you what you need to do, incorporate a solution to help them. Now, this isn't coming from somebody who's just starting in this business and trying to figure it out. We're doing this for 41 years now, and we're also from a position of authority. We're the world's #1 company for beauty and wellness device systems. I mean, so you're coming from Euromonitor standards as #1 in the world in this particular space, both beauty and wellness. So think about this. You have proprietary technology. You have a global megatrend of health and wellness growing from $6 to $9 trillion. There's people who have more options in the world, but very few solutions that can show a difference demonstrated. And you have really the only technology that's proven over 22 years to be reliable, to have something that can differentiate you from everybody else and provide a solution so people can start on their track to good health and wellness. So think about this. The future is now. A lot of people say, "Well, that's going to come in the future. That's going to be something big in the future." The future is now. It's happening right now. You're at the very precipice of what's happening. And that's why when Pat and Marguerite said, "Hey, do you want to get on a call?" I'll be on a call anytime, any night, any day, because I am so passionate. This is going to change things as we know it here in the world. And we have access to this. And this is something that really is quite unique. I think it's something that is, people don't fully understand or comprehend the value it's going to bring to so many different leaders and consumers and the field in general, because most people understand, generally speaking, health is important, but they don't know how to solve for the equation. And you're giving them something that Joe calls the best biohack in the business. And this will actually help them understand their health and understand what they need to do to get better. So that's a general overview on Prism IO. I know I took quite a bit of time there, but I wanted to give some general perspective, and then I wanted to answer any questions that you might have here. So Pat, Marguerite, let me have it. Give me some questions.
Okay. All right, Steve. Can everybody hear me? Yes, I hope. I just unmuted myself. Well, thank you for that tremendous amazing presentation, Steve. I mean, it's truly, truly outstanding. I mean, I can see something during the cruise, or the distribution curves you presented. Now it's easier to understand what happens when you smoke and you have bad body composition, or you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and you don't supplement. The comparisons are all there now for everyone to see. I think that's
Somebody asked me
amazing.
questions.
Very good.
How much it cost?
Oh, how much? One question is, how much money does it cost?
I'll give you a great answer. It's going to be a lot less than the current biophotonic scanner. But the final number is going to be finalized in a few weeks. They're working it through all of the corporate team and then also through the global analysis. So that should be available, but just consider it much, much less than the biophotonic scanner.
Okay, you can.
Would it have a PV to it attached to it?
Yeah, that'll all come out in about I would say about anywhere from 3 weeks at the earliest, maybe up to about 6 weeks. They're finalizing everything and they want to make sure everybody has access to that number because they don't want to send something wrong.
So when we go to the Success Summit, we should have it by then.
I hope so.
Okay.
Well, will you be okay with when will the what you call it, the docking device, would you be selling that as a set?
So here's the great thing is this is amazing. This is I mean, I shouldn't use those type of words. Let me just put it to you this way. It is incredible to me because the reality is this little prism in the palm of your hand can give you everything you need and it ties right into your app and you don't even need a docking station. You don't need a docking station.
Okay,
Now,
great.
For those of you who want a docking station, so say for instance, you have everybody over at your house, you don't want it to be passed around, you want to have a controlled place for it, or something like that. Maybe you're in a doctor's office or something like that. Then you can have what we're calling this little bit of a docking station, but it's basically just a simple charger with a magnet on it that holds it. So it's sitting literally there so it won't fall off. And then you have your iPad or your whatever, your Samsung or whatever, your little your individual device, and you can have that sitting on the stand and you can read your score. But if you don't want that, then that's fine. You can just put the Prism on the table and then put your phone up and then score them. That's it. That's simple.
Nice.
And as soon as you get that score, Pat, by the way, as soon as you get that score, you'll have it. And then the question is, do you want to know about the score? And they say, yes, hey, give me your phone number and I can share you the information. Then you send them a shareable link and that immediately attaches attribution to them, to you. That's so important because people, a lot of times, how many times have you gone to a scanner, biophotonic scanner? You see that line, it's going down the hall, they're scan, they got to record all the information. If the person at the scanner isn't really doing a good job, they're trying to get their name and number and information, and it gets kind of awkward. And you got all these people coming through. No, scan it, shareable link, transfer it, done. That's simple.
This is Eugene. I have a question. Is this going to be sold individually? Will it be sold with a system, a healthcare system? Have they gone that far in making those decisions yet? That's the first question. And the second question I had was, is this going to be across the board, same price, or is it going to be adjusted for Mexico and Italy and France and all the other markets?
Yeah, so I'll hit the first one first. So this is universally going to be a product that people can use anywhere. So this system is applicable for all different applications globally. And number two is the price point will always have to be adjusted because there's logistics and taxes and duties and everything else that goes into it. It's just going to be different for every single market because of those functions, but not because they're charging more in a specific market just because they want to. They have to globalize on the price, and the only fluctuation we typically will see is taxes and duties and anything specific to the impact where it takes to ship to a specific country. That's it.
Okay, good.
Steve, Tom.
So you
Police-
shouldn't see a whole lot of product diversion issues. That's what I'm trying to say is there should not be anybody who is taking this product and buying it for super cheap in one market and shipping it over to another market and trying to make money off of it. That's something we're trying to protect our leaders from.
And would it be available across all countries all at the same time, or US first and then other countries later on?
We're going global with this fall.
Oh, wow,
Wow.
great. Oh, simultaneously. That's great. Awesome.
Right.
Steve, will there be at some point a number attached to the color? Like a quantifiable number?
Yep, there will. And we're going 3 digits right now. Is kind of the focus is 3 digits. We don't want to go exactly the same as the biophotonic scanner because there's too many things that people want to harken back. This is a whole new technology, whole new system and so forth, but it goes 0 to 100 and you can kind of see the breakdown by that.
Nice.
Oh, Steve,
Yeah.
Is there a
Steve, will this be available in India on the launch?
It absolutely will.
Oh, it'll be.
so is the app like the other IO devices just downloadable on your cell phone kind of thing, or do you have
Absolutely.
to have the other device?
Nope. Downloadable onto your phone. Just let's say it's going to be much, much simpler. So it's going to, so literally my goal, and Walter, just so you know, my goal is very, very simple. I've taken enough hits because quote unquote, the digital experience didn't work the way it was supposed to work. And I'm just saying, I said, we've got to make sure this process is so super intuitive and simple that you literally can download that app, takes in the typical information on any sort of an app that's a normal app, takes in, you can scan, go, and like literally within 2 minutes, you're scanning your friend, you're scanning your neighbors, you're going to work and you got shareable links that you can share the information. That's how simple it's got to be. And offering up an offer like a subscription type application. We always have to think about subscriptions. Don't sell it once, don't sell it 12 times, sell it once. And that's so much simpler than trying to go through this process of trying to sell somebody again and again and again. You know as well as I do, LifePack has one of the highest subscription rates in the entire business. Why? Because number one, it works. Number two is once people get on subscription, they love the consistency and they can put it into a packet, and compliance is very, very straightforward, right? And they can also see the score go up. Same thing with if you're talking about youth. Same deal. Beauty Focus Collagen Plus, same deal. You see the scores go up. It's amazing. So what's really fun is when you start seeing the impacts on TRME and some of the other products, they actually have a benefit too. When you actually see, because why? Because you're adjusting BMI. What about the sleep product for mind? Oh, guess what? If you take, does it have carotenoids in it? No, but if you get better sleep, your overall stress index is going to drop. So start to see some of these other products are going to benefit. What's going on?
Can I ask a question?
Okay. Yes.
In India market, how many supplements will be there? How many types of supplements?
There's going to be quite a few supplements, but they're specific to a grouping. So we're going to have the core essentials. So roughly, I think the total number is 20 total. So you have core, life pack, then you have omegas, and then you have some additional weight management products that are in there as well.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
Okay.
But here's the important thing in India. I want to make sure this is super clear. Anybody who's trying to double up on India, just there are so many companies who are trying to win in India. So many companies that are trying to figure out a way to get involved in India. Literally nobody walks into India with a Prism.
That's
Except
correct.
for you. So while everybody else is trying to say, here's my curcumin product, here's my, here's my Boswellia product, here's my Ayurvedic remedy, here's my vitamins and my minerals, my protein and everything else that goes with it. Great. That's awesome. But do you have something that can tell a measurable score and see improvement? The answer is no. We walk into India, not just as a new company, but as a whole new paradigm to the way that people are nutrition and wellness.
But say, for example, if I'm taking some other company's supplements, Can this IO Prism also give the results, the readings?
Well, let's just put it this way. We've designed this specifically for the benefit to maximize the scoring for our business. That's the focus that we've actually done, because we know the antioxidant ratios that we need to be able to ensure proper nutrition on antioxidants. Nobody else has built it like this. They say, oh, here's some more antioxidants, here's some more products, and so forth. It's just a whole different way of going at it. This is truly intelligent wellness.
I
Steve,
see.
I got a question.
Yep.
Yeah, just wondering, you was presented a beautiful data set and the charts are amazing, showing the whole global sort of a health energies. Is this going to be shared somewhere on the website, or you're going to send it to country reps in different countries? I'm calling from Sydney.
Yeah, we're now sending this out to every single market president.
Beautiful.
Hi, Steve.
Thank you.
This is Benny Chong from Hong Kong. How are you?
Yep.
Hi, Steve.
I'm doing great. Hi, Benny.
Hi, thank you. You
Hi,
have done a
Benny.
marvelous presentation in 10-minute trip. I want to ask you a question that you may have answered already. We always say we have data, 21 million data accumulated through 20 years, and this why we outperform other companies. But we'd like to know how this data, this data affect the score, and how we have this data to distinguish from other company. How does it work to make it a winner? That's my question.
Well, first of all, no one else kept the data.
Yes, but how do we use this data to make ourselves outperform others?
The reason we can is because it's like saying, do you know how a lot of groups have measured, for instance, lipid levels in the body? Yeah. So those markets that actually, or those groups who have actually measured lipid levels, for instance, the original, I'll answer this a little long-winded, but I'll get back to the very specific point. There are almost no, as I understand it, current models in the marketplace that are measuring using the type of biophotonics that we're using and have used in the past and will be using going forward in the future. That in and of itself is proprietary to Nu Skin. So when you say what's different, that by itself is different. The biophotonic usage, there's a sequencing of lights. It's not just like you shine a light like a flashlight and it turns on and it gives you something that's out there. You have to have a certain sequence of lighting that hits and reflects at a certain level and it gets transmitted, understanding, and then comes back at a certain color and certain ratio. It's highly complex. There's probably about, I think Scott Ferguson was showing me, it was like 112 pages of formulas and algorithms that generate this, but that is what's so unique about us. In fact, just so you know, one of the things that we worried about, the most important thing that we worried about, was this concept of making sure that we do not have anything that would pollute our data and our sequencing of light. That was really important. So when you look at the Prism itself, the technology, the parts that are inside of it, ubiquitous, meaning that almost you can get these anywhere in the world. It's not the parts. We wanted to make sure that we could scale in a very significant way. It's the way we're using those parts and the sequencing and the patents that we filed for that is the difference. And that sequencing, that algorithm, that proprietary algorithm is unique to Nu Skin and nobody else.
Okay. So
that's what enables you to say that, Benny.
Okay, thank you. So in future, do we get the Prism IO? When we see the prospects, do we need to bring the iPad or iPhone so that we're connected to show them the score?
You can. I think it's up to you. My experience has been the following. You break into three groups. People who are you're showing this to break typically into three groups. First group is the group that just says, wow, this is amazing. This really helps me. Depending on your credibility and how much you've known this person or not known this person, they kind of say, this is very, very interesting. Thank you for helping me understand this. And then you can send them some additional information. Then it goes into the group that's, I guess, what I would call a little bit more skeptical, that say, well, so what? That could just be a bunch of hocus pocus. And then you would have to be able to share with them some of the details behind this, the patents, the research, the 40 years, all the stuff I shared.
Yes.
Then you get to the medical community, the scientists, the doctors, the people who really want to go into the details. And we're going to have a whole section inside of our app that when you get any one of those three groups, that you'll have the perfect combination of either whether
That's
it's
great.
a shareable link that can show the 112 studies that we have to support it.
Yes.
The study that we have going on with Stanford right now, the study that we have going that we did at
Yes.
Duke, all these individual stories. And then we'll, of course, have the Dr. Joe in your pocket, if you will, where Joe will be able to talk about carotenoids and the value of those carotenoids depending on who they are. So when you need credibility, it's a shareable link and it goes boom, right to them. Once they have the score, you can have all these doctors backing you up, all these clinical studies backing you up, and all this science backing you up to say this is unique, this is different, and this
Well,
is credible.
that would be wonderful. Steve, if the company, the headquarters can make a kit, a toolkit that including the three areas that you have covered, that
Yes.
will be very, very powerful and easy to duplicate.
That
Because
comes in the
duplication.
app.
Oh, come from okay. That's a good
That's going to be
news.
right there available. It has to be. Here's the deal. You cannot waste a minute when you're sitting
Yeah.
there talking to somebody and you have somebody who breaks into this category who says something to the effect of, well, I don't believe, I don't know. You can't debate that type of a person. That person's going to
Yeah.
go on until midnight. What you do is you share with them the clinical data and say, here's the data.
Uh-huh.
Let the data speak for itself.
Yeah.
Here's the 112 studies. Here's the
Yes.
biophotonic information from Stanford. Here's the biophotonic information from
Yes.
Duke. Here's the biophotonic from this university, wherever you are in the world. We're doing a study in Korea. We're doing a study in China. We're doing a study in Japan. We're doing a study in Europe. We're doing a study in the United States. And these all are wanting to be part of this study because we have 23 years of data to support what we're doing.
Exactly.
So it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. So we look forward to receiving this package and backup. And especially those young people, young generation, they like seeing data. They like seeing how it quantify the function of this Prism IO. So that would be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. The other thing, Benny, I just want to make sure you're clear on is the fact that when you're talking to these people, you say, hey, look, I'm just here. If you want to know, I can help you. If you want to dig into all the details, I'll share you some links. But today I've got only a limited amount of time. I love just to talk about how I can help you live a happier, healthier life. Are you interested in that? Yes. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah,
If they're
that
not,
will.
they need to move on.
Okay, good. Thank you for the tips. And when will that when will these kind of toolkits be available?
It has to come with so in November, as you know, there are people who are trying to qualify. They're going to the first ones who are going to be able to receive the Prism as a preview state. So I don't know where everybody is in the qualification process, but hopefully you're qualifying right now for the Prism. And so if you don't know about qualification, talk to your market president ASAP and make sure that you guys get it. And then going forward in Q1 of 2000, we're going to kick off the new year in a huge way in 2026, and it's going to be massive. So.
Yeah, I will tell my team to work hard to qualify. And I already downloaded the app. I already downloaded the QR code that I can see some basic information now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Hi,
Steve, I have a question. Oops,
Yes, I
sorry.
do. Question. Hi, Margaret, and hi, Steve. This is May.
Hi, May.
And hi. Currently the I formula has been out of for a while. I think I formula was also original part of a scanner, which does a great job for people's eyes. So I was wondering, what's the company plan and taking it out, or it's going to continue? And it's a little bit of devastating situation, please.
Yeah, I won't quote a famous rapper, but don't call it a comeback. No, it's coming back, right? It's depending on the market, unless that market's decided they can't have it in their respective market. We're gonna have I formula for the globe. Now, again, there are some regulatory issues. There's some other challenges within individual market, but literally we want to make sure and have those core products. Plus there's going to be some more products that are coming your way that are going to be pretty exciting. And we want to be able to make sure we make this as a robust product offering as possible so that we can be able to offer the benefits of nutrition and wellness to everyone at every level. That's really important because there's a lot of people who can't have access. They can't afford youth. They just simply can't afford it. They can't afford LifePak Nano currently where they live and what they're doing in their lifestyle. It just is too much for them. We want to be able to make Nu Skin within reach. And so, yeah, maybe you can't afford, but you can't afford a basic nutrition, core nutrition program that's going to have antioxidants, and formulated with a 6S process. And that's going to be a basic entry level that is better than the majority of all the supplements that are out there and proprietary for you. So including the eye formula, including a core life pack, including something that everyone can afford. And then as they continue to get better and better, they'll want a more improved formula. And then they go all the way up to life pack nano and or youth and be able to think about it like this. There's Optimal Omega, then there's Marine Omega, and then there's youth, right? That's the kind of, if you look at essential fatty acids, that's how it goes. Optimal Omega for those who can afford, but essential fatty acids are essential fat. Don't try to diminish Optimal Omega. Those are essential fatty acids, and those are 6S approved. Those are fantastic, and they're crushing it, by the way, in certain markets with Optimal Omega. It's a sleeper, by the way. It's a fantastic product because everybody can afford it. Then you go to Marine Omega, which is more advanced. And then you go to youth, which has all the essential fatty acids plus some additional products in there. So think of it like that.
Thank you very much. That's very informative. And this is actually, we're in the United States market. So I'm talking about North America. The eye formula will be, that's how you plan it going forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And Steve have a question about that's back to PRISM, okay? And then we know PRISM right now, we just really seeing the preliminary data, and then there's 23 million data point. The future, we are really interested in the future, what PRISM can do, because we know it actually can also help the beauty part. Can you just mention a little bit the future future development of PRISM?
Yeah, thank you for that segue, Wen. That's awesome. So yes, well, when I showed that very first slide, I talked about skin health. And as everybody knows, obviously, like when Joe Chang created Beauty Focus Collagen Plus, and it was funny, I was on the TE cruise and I was talking to people about this and they were like, what did you just say? I'm so confused. And I'll say it for this group too. So on the skin side, obviously there's internal and there's external, right? So you have topicals and so forth, but you're talking about protection. We're talking about sunscreens. When you think about sunscreens, you're protecting your skin, which helps support your antioxidant system, because if it's not having to worry about all this other stuff, it could focus on your body, right? So sunscreens help. Using the correct ingredients on your skin helps so that the free radicals that typically attack your skins are being, if you will, offset by the antioxidants you're putting onto your skin. When Joe Chang formulates a product along with Helen Nags and the team, they don't formulate it in a simple way of saying, hey, here's my dermis or epidermis. I'm going to push this product onto it and hopefully it gets a little bit smoother. They're thinking about like this. So for instance, you look at collagen. There's a million collagen products out there. Why didn't we do it a long time ago? Well, because collagen gets destroyed by the sun. Okay. You're out there in the sun and it breaks down. Okay. Collagen will break down inside your body if it's not supported. Okay. So first of all, let's make sure we've got the correct type of collagen and make sure that we're using peptides, this type of peptides that are specifically the size and molecule that will actually support the proper absorption of the collagen in your skin. Okay. A lot of people just say, hey, here's some collagen, super cheap, $9.99, come get it. It's like, well, okay. But like, what did you think about in terms of absorption, of hitting it at a bioavailable level and being able to go into the skin? Number two, once it's in there, are you supporting it? And that's why we have carotenoids in the Beauty Focus Collagen Plus. Joe's concept was once the collagen's there, you want to protect it. That's why we want to protect it against UV light and sunlight. Okay, you don't want to fry the collagen. You just put all that money inside your body to be able to protect it and make sure it's there. And now you're going to fry it by not protecting it? No, that's not going to work. And then you have to make sure the skin's pliable. So that's why ceramides in many markets, and there's some other ingredients we use in different markets to basically make sure the pliability and the moisture levels are at the right, correct levels. So now you have moisture, you have protection, and you have the right type of specific collagen at a small particle size so it gets absorbed properly. That's the way we approach products at Nu Skin. So back to your point, when you're thinking about skincare, we're not thinking about skincare as in like throw some ingredient on your arm and hopefully it's better that day. We're thinking about inside, outside, outside, inside. How do we maximize the skin health so that you support proper nutrient and antioxidant levels in the body to make sure that you can expand your health and well-being. A lot of people talk about this, and I've said this a million times. When I came into this business, it was all about how do we add years to our life? And our goal here is to add life to your years. That is the goal. Because it doesn't matter if you're, I mean, I can talk from personal experience watching people around me in my life who are at their 40s or 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they don't even come close to James Chia. They don't come close to One Rosencrantz. They don't come close to you guys. I mean, they're in their 40s and 50s. They don't even come close. James, you just did some big biking event. I can't remember when I was there out in Southeast Asia last time. You were telling me you're going to go do some biking event or some run event or something like that. He was crushing it. And then when you just did some big post, and I'm just going, who's this 20-year-old? Oh, it's Wen. She's posting again. I don't like you guys like literally are products of the product, and you know it. And my point is that those are people who are living healthy lives. They're adding life to their years, not years to their life. And I've talked to enough people who are literally struggling just to get out of bed, make coffee, deal with the newspaper, get to their recliner, watch Wheel of Fortune, then go. I mean, like, come on, let's go. We got to have some life in those years, not just years of life. So,
Yeah, you can't miss Wheel of Fortune. Paramount.
is this still even on? I don't know. So, anyways.
May I
Okay.
ask a question?
Yeah.
Hi, Steve. Mallory
Hi.
here. Quick question. For those of us with the current S3 scanner, do you find that we will still be utilizing that once we have the Prism?
No, it'll be phased out over time, but we'll make sure that there's a transition period, right? So you've got to make sure, and we want to make sure that that's available to all of the people who love their biophotonic scanner. And we're actually having a transition plan that's being built right now, and it should come out at the same time around the pricing and so forth. So everybody has a clean transition should they want to do it. There may be some who will want to keep their biophotonic scanner, and they're welcome to it, is my understanding. But the reality is, I think they could be able to trade that in and be able to have the benefits of the Prism.
Thank you.
There's a side question here. This is, since you're on, they'd like to know if next year's convention in Japan, can you name the month that's going to happen?
Oh, Japan?
Yes, the global
You know,
convention.
I am so focused, Pat, on Prism. I cannot even tell you. I'm in
Okay.
a lab all day. I'm in a boardroom all day. I don't get a chance to actually go see stuff like that. I just hope I get to see you guys in Japan. That's all I know. I haven't even looked at my calendar. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question.
That's okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, somebody asked a question, so I need to answer. That's all.
But Justin Kiesel's your guy. He'll answer that question for you.
Okay. Is there a strategy? I think maybe we talked about it, that we can stop competitors from using Prism IO to promote their product.
Yeah, so we did talk briefly about it. Expect more and to hear more about that. The one thing I would say is that just like the biophotonic scanner, you could still test other people's products and see the improvement, because the bottom line is, the reality is that the products themselves really are the value. Like, you think about a printer, it's printer and printer ink. You think about this is a I don't want to call it a sales tool, because that's not really that nice of thing to say, but the Prism basically gives you a score, but the value is life pack, is youth, is the nutrients that you're getting inside your body. And we can't lose sight of that. So now you're going back to a company that actually showed you how to understand your score. And if you want to go use somebody else's product, you can definitely do that. You can do that right now with Biophotonic Scanner. We're not going to block it, if you will. But we do have a couple of things that go in our favor, and it comes with a guy by the name of Dr. Joe Chang and the way he formulated this product. And when we look at the head-to-head comparisons, let's just say that Pharmanex typically comes out on top.
Great. Great. Okay. So Amy Yip has a question. Is the guarantee program still on with the Prism IO?
What is the guarantee program, Pat?
The guarantee that after you take your scanner score, and then you start taking our life pack or whatever, all the score, what you call it, SCS. And then after 2 months, if the score doesn't go up, it's 100% money back guarantee.
Of course it would. There's no way we wouldn't do that. Are you kidding me? That would be like the worst thing in the whole world if we gave up on our guarantee. We will always guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Pat, make sure you keep this video clip and hold me personally accountable on that one, because that is the absolute truth spoken
Okay,
there.
don't worry,
So-
we will see.
Yeah, I
That
do.
guarantee
I would think so,
is
but
guaranteed.
I wanted to hear from you. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Wait a minute, time is
It's
more than
10:14.
an hour.
Yeah, it's okay. Anybody else has any questions?
Yes, I do. What
I'm
else
just
does it measure? It's a lot of numbers that this thing is measuring. What else is it actually measuring?
Well, I can't go, Tom, I can't go into all the details because right now we're finalizing things with Duke University. They have a biophotonic group, as you know, part of our medical advisory board, scientific advisory board. Dr. Zoe Dralos
Right.
she's heavily involved in this. And it's just interesting to note her son actually has a PhD in biophotonic scanning.
Ooh.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So a lot of people think biophotonics is just this, and it's not. Biophotonics is the measurement of light, if you go look it up and so forth, but on the skin to derive benefits of health and wellness. So you can identify what's happening on your skin and how that's impacting your overall health. So why I said that, Tom, was let's just say they're actively involved at Duke University and our friend Dr. Zoe Gerlos on clarifying the answer to your question. And we already have now 3 analytes that I cannot disclose until we finalize all the patent work and everything else that we have going on there. But right now, our focus is on essentially the antioxidant score and the overall health score. Now, one of the other things that I wanted to mention on this, because Joe and I talked about this, Joe Chang and I spoke about this quite a bit. And I want to make sure everybody's clear on this, because sometimes you hear it and then you forget it and you hear it and forget it and hear it and forget it. Okay. One of the most important things I shared with you tonight was those data results. And why is that so important? It's because the score that people received, forget supplements, just forget supplements. Just look at what happens when somebody is smoking and what impacts their overall health. Okay. Just smoking. Okay. So we're not part of the group, although I don't smoke, but I'm just saying we're not here to try to say Marlboro's bad or any of that. We're not trying to do that. That's not what we're saying, although, we have our own opinions about things, but we're just simply saying when you're putting toxic carcinogens in your body, this biophotonic scanner picked up on that measurement, meaning that it actually gave you a health score. A lot of people say, well, it's just measuring crime. Oh my heavens. Are you not seeing what's happening? You're actually measuring pollutants that you're putting into your body. You're now measuring whether fruits and vegetables are having a meaningful difference. That's what I'm saying. The biophotonic scanner is agnostic. It doesn't know what you're doing. It just is giving you a score, and it's consistently showing you your overall health. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you're actually understanding more about your health through this biomarker than any other single thing I've seen in the world outside of lipid studies and blood studies. But people don't want to go get poked and prodded all the time with their doctors and so forth. So this is the only non-invasive way to get the understanding that we're now providing. It's a big deal, Tom. It's a big deal. But I don't want to take you off your question, which is expect more analytes, and they're coming.
There's a Dr. Samantha Yap asked a question. I understand that the scanner score is a snapshot of the current antioxidant status, but do we have information on the time frame it covers? Sometimes, like when I took a HbA1c blood test, it's like the reflection of 2-3 months of blood sugar level.
Yeah, great question. Great question. I won't get into the medical side of that because back to my original comment, we're not here to treat, diagnose, or any disease or anything like that. But what I can tell you is here's what's really exciting. We're actually seeing on PRYSM, when people take this consistently, whether it was a G3 or Beauty Focus Collagen Plus and so forth, we're seeing uptick within the first 3 days to 5 days. And that's that. So think about this, okay? All these studies were done. We're not asking anybody to change their diet. We're not asking them to change their exercise. We're not asking them to change anything in their daily lifestyle. Just do one thing, take a product. Take a product, that's it. and you can actually see something different. Now, why did we use the finger? Why did we use this? It's easy. Yeah, from an appendage standpoint, you can put your, but it's the furthest part away from your small intestine, which is the major receptor site and the donator of the nutrients to your body. Think about this. Look how far away it is, all the way over here, okay? That's why it's so important. So how do you know whether the nutrients are actually improving all the way to your fingertip? That's so important for you to understand. So you're seeing 2 to 3 days up to a week. And then certainly for the guarantee, it's 30, 60, 90 days, like we've talked about and so forth, so people can see that. But we use the appendage for a reason. It's simple, it's easy. People are used to using their hands and their fingers and so forth like that. But the most important thing is to understand that you're actually measuring something in the skin that's almost the furthest part you can get away from your small intestine, showing the absorption, number one. Number two is the transference all the way to the end of your body. That's so important. Some people can't even show you that they're absorbing the nutrients at all, much less that it's actually getting to the extensions of your fingers and your skin. It's such a powerful thing. And those who know, who are in the medical community or in the scientific community will say, oh my goodness, now I get it. Because you're talking about adipose tissue in the waist, right? And you're talking about skin tissue in the, you know what? Blood actually is less consistent than skin measurement. So back to your question up here on blood. Blood could be transferring over periods of time, and you're measuring blood from a different time. And I understand what you're asking here. You're not measuring blood. You're measuring literally the levels of antioxidants in the skin tissue. That's the difference. And that's the most relevant, precise, and consistent measurement you can get.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. Thank you. Okay. Any questions?
Pat, James has got to ask a question before we get off. James, you
Okay.
can't get not asking a question. Come on, James, bring it. Come on.
Yeah. Steve, we've been taking all these scan scores without actually recording data of how much vegetables we take and fruits and vegetables we take, whether we smoke or not. Are these readings included in your 26 million scans?
Yes. All of them.
Yeah, but there's no data there in those scans.
In the ones that you took?
No, well, when we put our hands in the S3, we're not actually filling a questionnaire stating that, we how much fruits and vegetables we take, whether we're smokers. And
you know what's so amazing about that, James? Think about that. We have 21 million verifiable scans that actually tie back to a questionnaire.
Yeah.
Think how many scans we have that don't attach to a questionnaire around the world. And I was talking to Joe Chang, and he was talking about medical drugs and pharmaceuticals and all the things and what makes a powerful study. And they said 10,000 data analytes will actually give you some really compelling data. We have 21 million.
Yeah. Steve, this is Eugene. I was quite active with medical doctors early on when the scanner came out, and we did have the questionnaire where they would ask, do you smoke? Are you overweight? Your BMI, the whole series of questions. So that data has already been given.
I know it's what's amazing is what James talking about, and you're right. And Eugene, it's amazing because we have 21 million data points that tie back to the questionnaire, but we don't even know how many data points are tied back outside of the questionnaire.
Yeah, yeah.
We've had our estimates are anywhere from 5 to 10 times that. So it could be anywhere from literally 100 million up to. I don't know the number, but James, you're hitting exactly the right point. Most people didn't take the time to do the questionnaire, but Eugene and Wen, especially at the very beginning when they're really trying to get the details and everything squared away, and most groups who really were taking it that way, plus especially a lot of people who are built in clinics who, so they're doing clinic work, right? So somebody's coming into their clinic, whatever it may be. And so you're sitting down, you're doing your typical vitals and your blood pressure, all that sort of stuff. And you also do your scan score, and they have to answer those questions anyway. So they're filling out this questionnaire as well. The doctors were genius Absolutely genius. We owe so much to Bennett and Moore and all those guys who did that, and yourself as well. As you said, Eugene, I mean, you guys were really at the tip of the spear of collecting this data, and now we get the benefit of all that data. It's just incredible. All these wonderful people get the benefit of that data because now we've demonstrated the difference.
Question, Steve, that's an important question. You mentioned about data, okay? So we all benefit from the data, but we also support, we building an organization, our network. If we have, say, 1,000 team members in our group, everyone has this Prism, so everybody feeding the data. We also going to benefit from those data.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing is we're going to basically populate the database so everybody has access to it. We had to, basically there is this Privacy Act that is in place that we would never violate, period. We do not want to share people's private data, and we will never share people's private data. It's just the way we work at Nu Skin. That's obvious. Now, if you opt into quote unquote a pool, meaning you'll share your data and you're happy to share it and so forth, and you want to share it with your upline, then you have that choice and you'll be able to share that information with your upline and so forth and others into what we call this general pool of data. And we haven't monetized that. Our goal isn't to monetize. That's not what we're just trying to make sure that you have access to information about your downline, your people, what's happening and all that sort of stuff. So we'll have access to that information. What's interesting is it's an interesting question I see Ahmad put in here about does the app itself track history of our scores? The current app does not, the new app does. So the new, like I said, this thing has to be simple and easy. So we have this, it's called Score, your own score. So when you go in there, you score and you go, okay, I hit this number, boom. And that automatically logs into your personal score database. So you can look at your score on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. How many times you score, you can see all the different scores you did. And then you have another thing called Scan a Friend. And that's when you actually help other people. And you scan that friend and they'll have a QR code that they can actually just, click on with their link with the phone and they can import their data in and have all that information ready to go. You scan them, send the link, and you have that attribution that's right there. And that's really, really important. So then you have their scan information. And if they opt in, then you can keep that scan information, say, let's scan you again in 1 week or in 30 days or whatever it may be. And then you scan them again. And then there's the improvement. You say, you were at X, now you're at Y. And that's the difference. And so you'll be able to track your scores and everybody you scan scores if they opt in.
That's great. We got some competition going on.
I'll tell you what, that is the biggest thing we've seen. There is so many. I never knew how competitive these amazing leaders are in the field, man. I didn't see that one coming, man. Pat got a higher score than Marguerite, and almost a bloodbath broke out. I mean, she's gonna punch him.
Yes, if his score ever gets higher than mine, and I have no idea why is mine so high.
It's trouble. It's trouble.
Yeah, I know it's trouble. It's
And I
trouble.
think what will be the IO Prism's cost at US market? What is the cost of it?
Say that again, sorry.
The cost of I think Steve covered that already. We're not
Yeah,
sure.
we won't have it for a little bit. So but much less than the biophotonic scanner. The current S3 tracks rolling 6-month scanner score. That's what they talked about on here. I think Walter put that in there. That's true, but that's only your score. It doesn't score. You can't scan a friend, get that score, and it's a rolling score, 6-month scanning score and so forth. This will actually give you your starting point and then all the way to every single scan you possibly do, all the way in perpetuity. So it's not 6 months anymore. It goes forever.
Wow.
As long as you designate it. So if it's your own personal, it's going to immediately assume it's you because you have two options. You can click you or scan a friend, and then that's it. Now, here's the other thing is, think about this. If you've got a team that's, let's just say, and this is going to come in 2026, and we're talking about this right now. One of the things we're putting together is, like, Pat, you and Marguerite, you guys have downlines all over the world. So do you and Wen, Eugene. It's just, you guys have all these downlines everywhere, right? So what we're going to do is we want to be able to do something where we can actually do a promotion that we can actually, you can take like for instance, Wen would do a score and then she'd do a challenge to Eugene. You guys would both score. Then you guys do your 30-day challenge. And then you give a recommendation for a product and you want to send that to your team over in, say, Taiwan or something like that. Okay. Off you go. Well, guess what? You do that, and the new intelligence system will actually take that, convert the language, go to the Taiwan site, verify that they have the inventory, specifically clarify the structure function claims that can be made on that product, provides you a new updated kind of a summary and says, here's one in Eugene's scores. You can have your little competition, your little soundbite, and then here's all the data from the Taiwan.com website that supports your little promotion that you're doing, and it goes to your entire downline. You just
Wow.
send it.
Mm.
That is cool.
It's that simple. So then somebody who's, for instance, your niece or your nephew that you might have working over in Taiwan could take that information. And here's my aunt who's doing this thing in United States. You might want to see this. This is kind of fun. Or you could do a dance, or you could do your workout. You could do whatever you're doing, and you could send it. And then you don't have to worry about compliance issues. You don't have to worry about regulatory issues. And you can send some fun information to your downline in Taiwan. Oh, now you want to go to Japan? Fine. You want to go over to your team in New Zealand? It'll actually go and verify on the .com so that it stays consistent with the regulatory requirements of that respective area, so you don't get yourself into trouble.
Wow. What a great AI assistant.
Okay, I have a question now. So let's say me and Pat got a PRYSM IO, and then so we have us. So we have my score, and then he'll be my friend, or that'll be his score, and I'll be his friend. Then we have our kids, our grandkids. So they all become my friends in the scoring issue.
You can set it up that way if you want to. If it's somebody you're sponsoring in the business, you'd scan a friend, send them the link, and they would actually set up their own account, and they'd be off on the races. Now, if they opt in to share their data with you, they can still do that. That would be in your what's called friends list. And so all your friends lists would be attributed into your list. Now, if it's an existing downline, then they can actually opt in as well and submit their information in on their scores, and that can go in. So think about it this way, Marguerite. Think about having this. So you have your scores, your personal scores, and the stuff that you pick, and then you compete against Pat on those scores. And that's your personal stuff.
No,
And
wait a
then
minute, but we only have one PRYSM
one
IO.
score for you, one
So-
for you. Yep. But you have the app gives you the versatility to be able to
Oh, the
scan
app.
others and have a whole genealogy and downline of everybody you scored. And if it's your own downline that's already in the business, that makes it so much simpler. So much simpler. They can literally either you can scan them through your PRYSM, or if they actually qualify for a PRYSM, or they actually start doing PRYSM, they can start uploading their information into your downline. So you can start seeing who's scanning, who's not scanning, what their scores are if they opt in. Again, otherwise, the data will keep it.
Let me do some silly questions. So we have one PRYSM belong to our house, but
Yep.
each person who has an iPhone app would be their own little game.
You could set it up that way, sure. So if they have access to a phone, you could actually have them scan on your PRYSM that you have in that household. They scan. That's called scan a friend, the family member, whatever you want to call them. Hopefully your family members are friends, especially if they're living with you. And then you basically could scan them and then send them that link on their phone. They'd have it. If they don't have a phone, if they're too young or something like that, then that's fine. You'd keep it in your phone and just designate who that was. That was Bob. That was Cindy. That was Ava. That was Wen. That was Francis. That was whoever.
Then can you create a group like this will be the Sung family group or the Young family group, which is my family, and then they can compete kind of, in the game.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
like a French group and a Taiwan group and a Hong Kong group. Yeah. Okay. All right. Gotcha.
And our 5 grandkids, right? 2 branches, one under one son, and look at these guys, under Kevin, they're so much better than Stephen. Stephen, what are you going to do about this?
No, it's really, I mean, really what it's fun about that, and what I love what you just said, was you're inviting your family to participate in health and wellness, but it's a gamification that keeps it fun and creative and competitive. But really at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're trying to bring people back to understanding their health and well-being and giving them the right nutrients to healthy life. I mean, isn't that fun to think about, that you're having that type of an impact and we're doing that in a simple way?
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, Steve, you got us all excited now. Give us a PRYSM as soon as possible.
We need
Bravo,
PRYSM.
Steve.
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve.
I know.
Yeah.
Great to be with all
Oh
of
my
you.
God. Now everybody's riled up. Okay, Benny, Hong Kong group, okay?
Yeah.
Complete.
Let's go. It's great to see
Stop the
everybody.
planet.
Hey, this isn't the last time we'll be talking. I see you, Dean. I see you, Jeffrey, Elsie, Elmo, Trey. I see all you guys. Walter, Tom, you're amazing. Shudita. I didn't say that right, but it's close, right? Is it?
Yeah, it is a G. Yeah, it
Close
is.
enough. Karina, Suzanne, Walter. It's just great to see everybody. When, Eugene, I love your smiles. I can't wait to see you guys when you guys get over here next month. And let's go have some dinner and have some fun.
Sounds
Okay.
like a plan.
So much.
Pat and Marguerite, thank you for organizing.
Thank you for hosting.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
And
No
everyone,
problem.
I'm
Thank you for
recording
joining.
this.
We're gonna record this.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you,
Can you turn
Marguerite.
on your
Thank you,
camera and
Steve.
say thank you to Steve? Can you do that?
We're gonna record quickly.
Okay.
We're gonna record.
So, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Martin and Pat. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Very enlightening.
Great
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
Get some rest.
Gallery.
Have your squirrel.
Now we have gallery.
Oh, everybody's here.
Gallery picture. Yeah. Yeah.
Take a photo.
Mimi, can I take a photo?
Okay,
Mimi,
hold
can I
on,
take a photo?
everybody. Turn on
Okay,
the
I can take a
camera.
photo.
Turn on your camera, everyone. So we have the first picture. Come on, Florence, Matthew,
Yeah,
Arinda.
Monica,
Okay,
we
the
want
first
to
one,
see
the
some
first
pretty
one.
faces here.
Okay, one second.
Yes.
Matthews.
Page 1.
Okay.
Page 2. Hello, page 2. Oh, we have all these people who don't show their face.
Oh,
Page 3.
Number of people left
I
already.
know, it's okay. Yeah, I can't get
Rosie.
3. Okay,
That's it?
that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Thank you.
well,
great
this is a
night. See
great
you anytime.
meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks to Steve. And I'm sure everybody's very excited about this. And wait until November when this launches.
Yeah.
It'll be truly amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So I'll just bid everybody good night or good morning, good whatever, good evening.
In. Yes.
Okay. So
Okay.
let's be all in on this. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
Bye.
Good
Marguerite.
Night.
Have a good night.
Well, thank you, Steve, for really
Thank you.
holding this meeting for us.
I know, long one. too.
Very
This
good
is-
information. I think he's very excited about this too.
No, he's excited. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Everybody,
I think
good
you need
night.
to do this one.
We'll stop the recording.
Yeah, stop the recording. Stop this one.